welcome to NAPOD, where we provide NA speaker meetings and workshops in a podcast. We are an ad-free podcast, and if you enjoy listening, please help us to be self-supporting by visiting napod.xyz, look for the donate link, and drop $1 or $2 in the virtual basket. If you're also in AA or have friends that are, please tell them about our other podcast, Sobercast. Sobercast features AA speakers and workshops in the same format as NAPOD. We upload a new speaker every day, and it's easy to subscribe by searching for Sobercast, that's 2 words, on any podcast player app, or go to Sobercast.com. Enjoy the podcast, and thanks for listening.
Thanks, Lester. I'm Carl, I'm an addict. I have to make sure I speak up, so yeah, that's how that works.
That picks up alright anyway.
Right. Yeah, I feel really glad to be in a meeting, to be honest. I don't really like sitting this side, I prefer to sit that side. But yeah, I think about being in recovery and working the steps and getting my life back and stuff like that. It's all down to this place, so I think it's my duty really to, for when I'm asked to say yes. And I haven't done a share here for a while. Last time I shared here, Tom was taking the meeting, and I was really struggling at that point. I don't know if you remember going through this. I think I've just done the 6 and 7. I was really struggling with that. I was really, my disease was all over me, and I was sort of faced with that every day, and I just felt like I was, going through a real turbulent time. And, if one thing I've learnt is feelings don't stay forever, they do pass. And since the last time I shared, I've had some ups and downs. Life on life's terms, and I'm still here clean, and that's down to this place. And yeah, the point I was making then is, you asked me to share last week, and I thought, yeah, I'm up for that, not feeling too bad, and I've had all sorts go off this week. I could probably share half an hour on just what's gone off this week, to be honest. One of my friends died, not through addiction, but it fucking really hurt. I built up a lot of sadness, so I've been sort of grieving this week. Spent a week in my hometown, the longest I've spent there since I cleaned up. There's no meetings in my hometown, so when I cleaned up, I went to a treatment centre and I moved to a town where there was meetings, and there was new people in recovery, people I could socialise with. I think if I'd have come out of the treatment and gone back to my hometown, then I don't really think I would have lasted long, to be honest. My illness, my sickness will seek out sickness in other people, and I just don't think I would have lasted long. So I sort of spent the week up there, and it's been really an eye-opener, really. Going to the funeral, I went to visit my friend's grave who died from this illness that we suffer with. He was 21, heroin overdose. I went with one of my friends, and so we went to his brother's grave, and he died from a heroin overdose in 1999. I think he was 26. And I was just looking around and seeing lots. I don't really want to be morbid and bring the tone of, bring everyone down. But I was just looking around and I've seen quite a few people that have been killed by this illness, and I'd like to say I felt really inspired and full of gratitude and stuff like that, but that wasn't the case. It just felt really sad, to be honest, and yeah, it's quite tough. I think it's tapped into a lot of losses that I've felt throughout my life, and I used drugs for 20 years, and I know a lot of people in this place use drugs for a long time, but, I think it takes time to thaw out from all that stuff, and to feel it emotionally, and I think that's the sort of process I've been going through this week. I did meet up with one of my mates in recovery, met him up with him in Birmingham, so I got a chance to spend some time with someone in recovery, which was nice. And Justin was sending me texts, which was really nice, and Lisa. That's what I do love about this place, people do care about each other in here, and I really do feel like I belong in here, and if I ever ask for help, it's always there on offer. And same, if someone asks me for help, I'll be obliged to do the same. So it's been tough, saying that, I went to a comedy night last night, and it was amazing, and it's I had a great time, and laughing and joking, and we're going to a wedding tomorrow, so it's not just all doom and gloom. I suppose it's just life, really. So yeah, that's been my week. An up and down, turbulent affair. Lots of feelings, lots of uncomfortable feelings, lots of feelings I would have used on in the past, but I haven't used. I feel like I wasn't avoiding my feelings and running away from them either, which is progress. So I'll tell you a bit about myself. Typical story, really. Sort of broken home as a child. Got into taking drugs quite early in my teens. And my experience with drugs was one of, when I first started taking them, I loved it. Weed, I loved it when I first started taking it. Speed, acid, ease, heroin, crack, tablets. Whenever I first tried it, I loved it, and for a few weeks, it seemed to work for me. And then, after a short amount of time, the consequences came. Whether it be, they talk about jails, institutions, and death, who's near death, and the other two boxes were ticked for me. So yeah, my first time I took heroin, I absolutely loved it. It ended up totally ruining me. I actually watched a videotape of myself at the weekend 8 years ago, and when my daughter was born, and it was real cringeworthy. I know I can look at my step work and look at myself and stuff like that, and go on my memories and look at myself, but actually seeing myself on videotape was proper cringeworthy, and it wasn't just the physical way I looked either, with cheekbones and sweaty face, and it was at my ex-partner's house, and my daughter had just been born, and my mum and dad was there, not my mum and dad, my mum was there, my stepdad, my uncle, my auntie, and I was just totally fucking obsessed with myself, completely. Smoking dope in front of all my family, saying, "Oh, these are special cigarettes," and blowing all smoke in the camera, and thinking I was fucking the dog's bollocks. Thought I looked the dog's bollocks, and honestly, looking back, I looked like a fucking idiot, to be honest. I did. Probably just have a look now. That was cringeworthy as well. So whenever I used, I just ended up rinsing it till it didn't work. People talk about how the drugs stopped working, and for me, every time I had a hit, it made me feel different. So the drugs stopped working for me was when all the pain I was feeling that I'd used drugs to push down, when I kept using and I kept feeling that pain, that's when I sort of realised that the time was up, really. My daughter being born, that was sort of, for me, that was the start of the wheels being turned, for me to want to clean up. I was one of them addicts who'd sit there with a bit of foil, smoking it, saying, I need to fucking sort myself out, I'm going to do this, you know. I never did anything for years, you know. I thought I was better than other addicts, you know. I thought, at the time when I was smoking it, I thought, you know, I'm never going to start injecting, you know. I did all that, I'll never do this, and I'll never do that, and I ticked all the boxes there. You know, they say that the illness is progressive, and I really get that, and it wasn't just the drug use, it's the illness that was progressive. It just get worse and worse and worse, and getting clean, I've still got the illness, you know, and it wants to, you know, it's a sneaky fucking cunning, you know, they say it's cunning and bad, you know. It is, and it'll come out in other areas, shopping, food, fucking whatever, you know, all the normal stuff. So, yeah, I got to a place where, as you found out, the circumstances at the time when I cleaned up, I'd been to treatment twice, and been thrown out both times for breaking the rules, trying to do things my way, trying to do things the way I'd always done them. There was no willingness to change, and I reached a point where I was hanging around with these lads, and we were just scrimping and scraping money together, score, proper, like, street junkie stuff. My mate lived in a flat. We used to have to move the bin line off the broken window and climb through his flat, and we never had no carpets and stuff like that, and we was just, you know, climbing through this window and going in there, having a hit, gouching out on his sofa, trying to sell, you know, video players when, you know, video players worth about 50p, but was, you know, proper, like, finding ways and means to get more, but just got to become real desperate, you know. My family was wised up to me. They knew, you know, I didn't want to sort of steal off them. I didn't want to steal at all, to be honest. You know, I did have a conscience, but it's just desperation. And I ended up finding out I'd got hepatitis C. And when I found that out, I just broke down in tears, and I was coming up for an assessment at the treatment centre, and I just think that was the point, really, where I just thought, I've fucking had enough of this. I really have. I thought it's going to kill me, you know. It was a real sort of a rude awakening, you know. So I went through the process of going into treatment for the third time, and putting all the drugs down. You know, I know there's a few people in here from treatment now. My experience of treatment is probably a lot different to the one you're going through. There's no detox system in my treatment centre. You went in there and the drugs just stopped the day you walked in. So my first 90 days consisted of 2 or 3, maybe 4 hours sleep a night. I was a wreck, to be honest, when I first put the drugs down. A wreck. I was shit scared of everything, everyone. I started to feel my body again for the first time in years. I remember feeling my arms, all the track marks in my arms. I could feel all that. My teeth, you know, the pain of that. Physical pain was on me, and you know, I really struggled with trust. I felt like a piece of scumbag piece of shit. Excuse my French. I felt that I was completely worthless. Yet there must have been some desire in there for me to change, you know, and get clean. And yeah, wow, what an experience that was, you know, coming into the fellowship. I remember coming to the meetings and how it was. Every time I wanted to share, you know, I was in a treatment centre and people would come, and some people were really good at sharing, and I was comparing myself to everyone, and I used to try and, you know, pluck up the courage to open my mouth, and all the sweat was just dripping down my face, completely riddled in self-obsession. I heard someone talking about it in a meeting the other day, and sort of really hit home for me. Sitting up here would have been no chance would I ever do that. I found it weird. I was really, really judgmental of pretty much everyone in the room. There's a few people that. There's a guy in Nottingham. I remember him saying to me, "I like your T-shirt." That's all he had to say, and he smiled at me, and that really touched me, to be honest. I sort of felt invisible in the fellowship, like everyone else was doing so well, and everyone else was so together. Everyone else was laughing and joking and seemed comfortable with each other. And I'll be honest with you, people, newcomers, when newcomers come into the meetings, I really do believe that we need to gravitate towards them and make them feel welcome. And there's the reality is newcomers go to meetings and sometimes they get ignored, and I really don't agree with that. From my experience, going to meetings and people not acknowledging me make me feel like shit. So I think newcomers need to be made welcome and given love and given support. And to be helped, just like we all were when we came in. I remember the first, I do remember all this stuff. I remember the first time I saw a step working guide. I remember the first time I seen the steps. I remember the first time I seen the word God, which that was something that I thought, fucking hell, what is this place? I'd sort of been anti-religion my whole life. I thought I'm never going to get this, and I got suggested to start praying in the mornings to find a God of my own understanding. I remember people saying, "Oh, mine's Bart Simpson, mine's a shed," and all that stuff. God and shed. It keeps you clean. I thought, how's a God and shed going to keep you clean? I don't think it would, to be honest, unless I just lock myself in it. Get some rations. So that's been a process for me that's ongoing throughout my recovery, really. A God of my own understanding. I remember when I did my step 3, I thought, I'm just going to say I believe in God. Make this step work a lot easier to do, I could just say, I believe in God, and do my steps and everything will be alright. So it's been a process. I've sort of been there. Sometimes I believe, sometimes I don't. I'm not religious. I do like the spiritual side of the programme. I love the spiritual principles. I can struggle to practice them, in all my affairs. I can, but I do love them. I do get that's the way how we stay clean, and not just clean. I don't want to be just clean. I want to be in recovery. I want to have a decent quality of life. I want to be able to have healthy relationships with people. I do. Sometimes I can, act out here and there, and then pick myself up for it. Sometimes I get angry. I know I'm a human being and I've got emotions, I don't do everything. I'm not perfect by a long shot. I've noticed since I got clean that I've been able to accomplish things. I've been able to build a life, start rebuilding myself internally and rebuilding my life externally. I know I'm quite sick. I'm going to find this hard to believe, but I'm quite a sick individual. But I've come a real long way, and I have. And I find it fascinating. I find it fascinating. I'd love to know, what I'll be doing in 5 years' time, and I never know. We might get married. That's worked a lot. Oh God. Sorry, drifting off there. I thought I'd drop that one in. Yeah, who knows? Who knows where I'll be in 5 years' time? I do find it fascinating though. Yeah, so recovery has been about, for me, it's regular meeting attendance, speaking to my sponsor, speaking to my friends. To be honest, I don't engage with a lot of people in recovery. You know, I do. You know, I'd say there's a lot of people in this room are my friends, but I don't confide in everyone in this room. I confide in a few people, and that sits well with me. I confide in my sponsor. Try and take his suggestions on board. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do. And try and live the steps. You know, I do find it difficult when I've got the disease of addiction, so I know that it's not a cure, and the steps ain't going to cure me. You know, I know that they're there to contain this illness a day at a time. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. I've got a sponsee, which has been a whole new experience. And one I'm grateful for. I think I was a lot more self-obsessed before I got a sponsee. You know, I'm at university doing a degree in counselling, and that's continuously analysing myself and my childhood and just fucking over and over and over again. It can get quite tedious. And yeah, how are we for time? We alright?
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Yeah, so getting a sponsee was, yeah, it's been a real, it's challenging at times, to be honest. That defect of control still there for me. Yeah, really rewarding. It's great to see people growing in the fellowship, you know. Just looking out here now, you know, I sit in meetings with you and can hear your struggles, and a lot of people keep coming back and keep doing what's suggested and stay clean and get through the struggles, you know, and it's great to see. I love sitting in meetings and hearing real stuff, you know. I think anyone can sit there and quote the literature and you know, and spat all that stuff out. But I like to hear real stuff, and I really get a lot from it, you know. I was reading that new book, the Living Clean book, and I really like that book. I think there's a lot of real stuff in there, and it's really up to date. And yeah, I was reading it probably for about 2 hours on the train the other day, and it just really helped me, to be honest. You know, at times when I struggle, I can think, even though I know I'm not alone, I can feel alone with my feelings. And it's great to read that literature and know that, you know, there's people out there like yourselves who understand. And yeah, I do really like the literature. You know, my life doesn't revolve around recovery. Excuse me. I really like to do things, you know. I like to enjoy life. I like to experience new things. I like to spend time with my daughter. Something that, you know, I sort of didn't take advantage of when I was using. I knew I loved her, but, you know, my using became first. You know, it says in the literature about it coming in front of her families, our wives, husbands, and our children, and that's how it was for me. You know, I'm sort of aware of how my addiction has affected my daughter as well. which, you know, I really don't feel great about at all. You know, children are shaped, you know, when they're growing up, and I did neglect her a lot, and you know, I used with her in my company. I smoked weed around and stuff like that. So I can't do anything about that. You know, the Serenity Prayer, accept the things you cannot change. I can't change that, but what I can do is change the way I do things now. I can give her time. I can give her love. I can give her attention. She's got a mobile phone now, so I can text her, which is great because she lives so far away. So, you know, I just struggle with that. Not being able to see her. You know, I'd like to spend my life with her, to be honest, but you know, it's not meant to be like that. So yeah, and you know, I've done a lot of things in recovery. Just thinking over the last year, I've done a fucking 54-mile bike ride from Brighton to London to Brighton. Would I do that when I was using? No, what the fuck. I struggled to cycle to the dealer's house, you know, in Rattling. So, and that was for charity. It's amazing. I went to see my favourite fucking band last year. Yeah, the amazing Stone Roses. I went to go see them live at the comeback gig. Something I'd look forward to. I wanted to see them in '96, just before they split up. I wanted to go to their gig, but I was working full time, but all my money was going on drugs, so I never managed to do that. So I managed to go and see them and experience it and remember it and take photos. And I went with my family and my brother and my cousins, and we had a great time. Yeah, and I'm going to go and see him again in June, so there. All bought and paid for. So yeah, I suppose I've got 5 minutes left. What do I end on? I think of people new in the room. It was said to me, if you don't believe what you hear, believe what you see. So I think, you know, just keep coming back to the meetings. When you leave treatment, throw yourself into the fellowship, get service, you know, get involved in service. It will keep you safe, it will keep you around people. Just giving something back to the fellowship. Yeah, so I think we should all be involved in service. If you're not, hang your head in shame. Yeah, convention. We did, you know, putting the convention together. It's amazing. That was, yeah. When I got put forward for that, I shit myself. I thought I'm not going to be able to do this. Which is pretty much how I think when I come up against anything new. And yeah, it's a roaring success. So yeah, I am grateful for this fellowship. I shall keep coming back to the meetings, and I shall keep on being involved, and it's really nice. I feel alright now. I had a 45 minutes sleep before when I finished work, and I woke up and my head was just like, and I thought, I've got to go to a meeting and share. It's going to be a real struggle. So I'm washing my face, brushing my teeth, trying to wake myself up a little bit. But yeah, it hasn't been that bad. My nerves haven't been that bad either. Yeah. Life beyond my wildest dreams, that's what I've got. I'm sure it'll get better as well if I just keep doing what I'm doing. On that note, thanks for having me. I shall leave it there.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Please help us improve our ranking so others can find us by putting a review on Stitcher, iTunes, or your favorite podcast index. Nawpod is ad-free thanks to the folks supporting the show with $1 more per month. If you enjoy listening, you can join them by going to nawpod.xyz and looking for the donate link. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.